Hey guys, it's Alexandra. Today I'm going to be talking with Haley, and she's a fitness and lifestyle coach. So she's kind of going to be talking about how to find a good balance of nutrition and fitness and self-love and body confidence. I think you guys will learn a ton from her. She's super inspirational. So to learn more about how to kind of get started on that journey, I hope you stay tuned for the rest of the video and subscribe for more. All right, thanks.
It's not me. Hello, how are you, Alexandra?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, glad to be here.
Yes, absolutely. So I came across you on TikTok, and I think something that resonated specifically with me, and I think like just a lot of my friends and a lot of the girls that I know, is that you're very body positive, but it's not. I think a lot of body positive women that I see are more on the plus size spectrum.
Yeah,
So it's kind of hard for me to relate to that, and it's kind
yeah,
of it feels like there's not really much representation of just like mid-sized bodies just
yeah,
in general in the media. So it's really nice and refreshing to see somebody like you celebrating that and standing out as like a representation of so many women that are just, I feel like, kind of underrepresented in society.
yeah.
So I noticed when I checked out your account, I was just curious, like if you were just body positive just as far as your attitude goes, or if you were like a businesswoman, or how that worked. And I thought your little Instagram bio, you said, I help busy women create habits that stick while eating cake and losing weight.
Yeah.
So what is that all about? Just talk to me about what you do.
Yeah, absolutely. So I do work online as a health and fitness coach for mainly women. I thought about helping men, but since it's strictly online, I unfortunately I get some creeps. So, like I said, I mainly stick with women, but the eat cake, lose weight is kind of a slogan that I use, but also kind of stand by, because with my coaching, it is not a diet. It is not a chore. It is something to enhance your life. It should never hinder you. It shouldn't be something you get up and like think about, like, oh, I have to go to the gym today. Oh, I have to eat healthy. And it's something you dread. That's something that happened to me when I kind of first started dipping into fitness per se. And I was like, okay, so I can't eat any pizza. I can't eat any cake. I can only work out. It has to be 2 hours. And it did not last. And that's kind of where I think my eating disorder and body dysmorphia really just skyrocketed, really. That was between, like, I think 2016 to like 2018 was a pretty hard period for me. But finding my balance was, again, that eating cake and losing weight. I started just genuinely eating for health and not eating for looks. Started going to the gym because it made me feel good, not because I wanted to have a fat ass or the smallest waist. Especially when everything on social media, even though it's still fitness oriented, people are still putting out an image that is just not maintainable, even in the fitness industry, which I hate. And that's something I really strive to also do. So yes, it's body positivity, but it's also a mixture of like fitness and how you can still like achieve your own body type. So I'm not going to go out here and be like, hey guys, I can help you get a really tiny hourglass waist, the biggest butt, and also I'm going to help you grow your boobs, because I see that all the time and it infuriates me, honestly, because they're like, hey, do these exercises to grow your boobs. I'm like, no, no, that is breast tissue. You cannot do that. That is genetic. So then you have these girls out here doing chest presses, doing absolutely nothing and not even focusing on form or for their health. And then you have people out here being like, oh yeah, I'm going to do this back exercise. It's going to make my waist smaller, and just a lot of bullshit. So I really just cut to the chase. So I think when people read that, it's intriguing to be like, okay, wait, so I can eat cake and I can still lose weight if that's something you're looking to do. So when my clients come to me, basically it is a lifestyle. It's something that we're building for longevity, not for an 8-week plan. I see that a lot too. Hey, let's do an 8-week plan and you're going to have the biggest butt. And I'm like, in 8 weeks, you'll probably start feeling better. That's about it. You're not going to have massive changes in your body. And our brain will think, oh yeah, 8 weeks, I'm looking better because this program is working and it's only been 8 weeks. But in reality, our body's just adjusting. So like I said, I just really like to cut out the bullshit and really just give it to you as it is, really. Yeah.
So as far as your own personal changes go, what is your personal body confidence journey? What has that been like for you?
Yeah, so it's been a long one and I still think I'm always on it. I mean, I don't get up every day and go, yeah, that's it. That's the shit. Because that wouldn't be again maintainable because we're gonna have bad days just like anything else. So for me, it kind of was an up and down. That's kind of why I love and hate social media at the same time, is because I never thought there was anything wrong with me. Growing up all through middle school, I definitely had that somewhat of a bullying people. This is when I lived in Virginia. I live in South Carolina now, but I grew up with people, and I always grew up kind of like chubby because my grandmother, I lived with her, and she just always had sweets because my mom and them were going through divorce. That's a whole different story. But when I was living with her, she always had foods that I never was allowed to have at home. So I kind of went crazy on it. So I was a bit on the chunkier side for my age. And then around eighth grade, I moved to South Carolina and I just started being more active and outside because I didn't have as many friends because I had a whole new area to live in, and I just started like riding a ripstick around for like 4 hours a day because I was just so bored and had like no friends at the time. And I started noticing myself losing a little bit of that weight that I always kind of carried. And then I started just eating. My mom was always home at that time since we moved in South Carolina, being an at-home mom. She was always cooking healthy meals. So I started seeing that weight drop, and I was probably like 115 and maybe like 5'2" or 5'3" at the time. And looking at pictures, I'm very scrawny. But I remember thinking in my mind, this is still not enough. I need to be skinnier. People are only going to like me if I'm a shell of a person. And I wish I would have had someone telling me at the time, like, hey, your value is not dependent upon how much you weigh or what your body looks like. So I always tried to think that my value was in my weight. And that definitely carried on probably throughout high school. I was still very, I'd say, tiny for my height and weight. I'm now 5'4", so I did have a kind of a late spurt there. I didn't even get my period till I was about like 15, which is pretty late for most people. And so, yeah, through high school, I definitely, again, had really hard confidence. Self-love was really not there. I always struggled kind of keeping friends because I've always been very true to myself, and having to keep people in my life that either talk shit about you or spread rumors. I wasn't someone that's like, yeah, let me feed into that. I'll still be your friend. Like, I just didn't deal with it. And so I didn't have that many friends. And again, I went into a very kind of depressive state and was always at home and eating again. So I think I gained a little bit of that weight back. And so I was having to find, again, that self-love. I was like, oh, but I was so skinny before. Now I look like this. So between that and like having body dysmorphia, because even then I really wasn't anything. I'm not, like, it doesn't matter what you look, but then in my brain I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm huge, I'm crazy, I look horrible. And so then I kind of definitely went through a binge eating time there. And I would also say at times I would eat so much, not even trying to make myself throw up, but I just would because I couldn't physically keep that much food down because I just restricted myself so much. So then one day I found a girl online. You may know her, Nikki Blackheader. And she's with Gymshark. She does a lot of stuff. Now looking back, she's definitely not the biggest role model for me now. But then I just saw her and I was like, oh, she lifts weights. She looks good. She's confident. She's definitely a completely different body type than me. I mean, she's like maybe 5'1" and super tiny, and she has like fake boobs. But in my mind, I'm thinking she's beautiful. I want to look just like that. And I started working out. At first, it definitely, again, was not healthy. I was going for like 2 hours a day, doing lots of cardio. And I usually was doing it as a punishment. So like if I ate pizza that day, I would go and like, okay, I need to do an hour of cardio. So if I had 3 pieces of pizza, it means I need to do like 2 hours of cardio. And I would just overdo it. And I was exhausted. I hated going to the gym. It was a chore for me. I guess you could say that went on for probably about a year. Fast forward, when I got into college, I again had to kind of start over, make new friends again. I was dating a guy that was always busy. He was an engineer at the time. We're not dating anymore, but I was. And I wasn't really happy with our relationship either. So I finally fell in love with the gym just by simply doing it for me and enjoying it. And I was eating healthy. I was learning about macros. That's something I teach my clients, but macros, protein, carbs, fats, actually eating for health and not just eating to eat. So, not to even bore you with it, I'm not even sure if half the stuff I'm saying makes sense or is even somewhat of interest. But it was kind of just an up and down thing going through life. You kind of have that bully phase, which can build character, can also be traumatizing for me. It definitely was some character building, and then going through high school, having that not good enough, not looking good enough mentality. And then I just started posting on my Instagram one day and did it for me as like a progress to like track my progress for myself. And then people were like, hey, I like this. And I was like, you do? You like this, you like my account, you like me? And I finally decided like, yeah, I'm probably just going to start being me and start doing this for myself, because who the fuck am I doing it for? So it really just depends on each person and their journey. And that's why I love what I do, because I kind of get to help them like on their path and find what works best for them and what their balance is.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I
Yeah.
think kind of during this time, I feel like anybody who felt like they wanted to start on their self-love journey and then kind of just got the hang of like a balance, and then it all gets disrupted with the whole COVID situation.
Yeah.
How would you advise somebody to try to, I guess you could say, stay on track or keep a healthy mindset without backtracking into like eating disordered habits that they were having before? Sort of, I've learned a little bit as this lockdown has gone on that a lot of people fall back into old habits that they had worked so hard to get out of.
Yeah.
And if they're back in a place of isolation, it just brings back those habits that you used to have. So if somebody were to feel like they're slipping, what would you say health wise to help pick somebody back up?
Yeah, even with some of my clients, it's been hard for them. And the best thing that we focused on is understanding that it's different. Our circumstances are different. It's not going to be perfect. We're not always going to look perfect. It's kind of like on your period. I think that for most people, for me, mine's much more intense, but like bloating and seeing your body change for like a week and then it kind of goes back to your normal, people get so hyper focused on that 1 week. They're like, oh my God, I look horrible. I'm so bloated, my lower stomach, I'm so fat, I need to eat less, but they want to eat more because of sugar cravings. And they're just dogging on themselves that whole week. And then the next week they're like, oh yeah, I look so good. I'm like, but that was still your body. It was just different. So I think the best thing is to just know that your body may start to look different, depending on what you're doing. And that's okay, because there is a thing called muscle memory. There is a thing as getting back on track. If you do work out pretty regularly and then you have to change to at-home workouts because of where you're at, or you just don't feel safe enough to go to a gym if they're open for you, or you can't wear a mask and it's hard for you to breathe and work out, whatever it may be, finding that new balance. That's something I always preach, is balance, and everyone's balance is going to look different. So for someone that is a nurse, when they work out and what they eat and how much they eat, with their schedule depends. So for each of my clients, we just take the time to focus on what works best for them. And as far as not slipping back into eating disorders, again, depends who you are. Is not giving into them, but making sure you're not restricting yourself, because that's where eating disorders tend to stem from, is restriction. We restrict ourselves to a point where we just want to eat it all. So for me, if I want an Oreo, I usually just eat an Oreo. I don't overdo it, because I used to overdo it. I would eat like 6 or 7, and then I felt really sick to my stomach. Or if I want a piece of pizza, sometimes I'll just substitute it for a bit healthier pizza, or I'll make my own homemade. So it's healthier and I know how much calories are going into it. Higher protein content, so it has a more caloric value, but it's healthier. So it's also finding, again, back to that same word, balance. I can still eat pizza, but it's a little bit healthier today. And then maybe on the weekend, I'll have an actual pizza because I really want just that greasy ass shit to eat. So overall, it's finding your balance and then not slipping into those same ways, is because, again, if you have an eating disorder, body dysmorphia, is coming to acceptance with it, recognizing that it is a problem, and then figuring out your best way to overcome it. And then if you have already and you feel that being isolated is causing you to overdo it, taking a step back and realizing where it's stemming from. Do I have a lot of anxiety around this? Am I bored eating? Am I actually hungry? And just really focusing on what is making you do that, and then trying to kind of just get to the root of problem and do what's best for you. I mean, again, everyone's different, so whatever works for you, but just try not to restrict so much. I think throughout quarantine, I've maintained weight. I don't really weigh myself on a daily basis. I think weight should not be something you track as your progress. I usually have clients take progress pictures. If they want to do weight, that's for them. But we need to stop hyper focusing so much on our weight as if it really genuinely means something. Because BMI, if you look at a doctor, they have this BMI scale, which is so stupid because they don't, as it do anything for like how much muscle mass you have, what's the water mass of your body, your bone density. So I'm 5'4", I'm like 150, 155, depending on the weekday, whatever it is. And if I tell a doctor that, they're usually be like, hey, you should probably lose at least 10 pounds. But they don't look at me and tell me that. They would say that over the phone, but in person, they're like, oh, you're a very healthy looking person per se, because health looks different on everybody. And yeah, weight doesn't mean shit. So if you're listening to this and you're hearing that your weight is a problem, just don't listen to the number. It's stupid.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I think something interesting also is that you've seen both good and bad sides of social media as far as your own growth. So regardless of if it's healthy or not, unfortunately, people are just on social media all the time. So you're seeing whatever you're seeing, and you can't always control that. So what are some types of, mentally healthy things you think people with any sort of body image issues, how can they consume social media in a healthy way?
Yeah. First, it depends on who you follow. You have to filter anything. It's like you choose a book off a shelf because you choose to read that book. If you were just to choose a bunch of bookshelves and then just start reading them, you're like, this doesn't mean anything to me. This is not helpful to me because you didn't really actually look at the cover. So when you're looking at people's Instagrams, does it add value? This is something I think I made a post about this at one point, but does it add value to you? Does it make you feel good about yourself? Do you leave their page feeling less of yourself? Do you not love yourself more because of this person? And if that's the case, then don't follow them, even if they have the most fun workout tips or they have the cutest dog. You follow them with the cutest dog. I mean, again, it's up to you. But if you leave that page feeling empty or feeling insignificant because of how they look or their life, then just remove it. So I filter my social media. I only follow people that kind of are on the same message that I preach, is that's going to be that positivity, that self-love, filtering out the bullshit. I really rather see someone post about having a bad day sometimes, because people don't post about bad days. They're just like, hey guys, having the best day ever. I just walked my dog with my mocha latte and I'm going to Marshall's now, and then I'm gonna go to the gym, and oh my God, look at this package someone sent me. And you're just like, wow, their life is so fun, and it's fun to see it. And then after a while, it's like, why isn't my life like that? Even for me, I still see things like that where they're like, oh, getting this free cruise and I'm going to go to Bali and model for these people. And I'm just like, wow, that's awesome. Wish I had those opportunities. And then I take myself back, and I'm like, that's not my journey, that's theirs. And I also don't know what they're going through. So being self-aware of like that may not be 100% real. Even the picture they're taking, I even say this all the time. When I take a good gym picture, there's some days where I look really bloated, but I took a really good picture because I got angles, I got camera, I got iPhone, I got lighting, so it's just, we highlight the good, we never highlight the bad. And a lot of people I follow like to really talk about when they have a bad day or when they are going through something, like, hey, my grandmother just passed away and I haven't been to the gym in 2 weeks. I'm struggling. I'm falling back into some eating disorders. I'm falling back into my depression. And that's like, wow, hey, that's actually really relatable because I too just lost somebody, or I too struggle with anxiety. So following people that you actually relate to, not just because you follow them because they have a nice butt or they have good coffee ideas, because does it add value to your life? Maybe not. So social media, if you get on social media, people are like, oh my God, social media makes me feel so bad. I'm like, well, who do you follow? And they're like, Kim Kardashian, Khloe, Kylie, basically all the Kardashians, then all these models. And I'm like, oh, well, that's why. Okay. You're following a bunch of fake shit. Okay. They can do their thing, but they're vegan. So why are you following that? I mean, I don't even know if I follow any of them. And if I did, I don't even think it shows up on my page because I've never liked their stuff. But yeah, you want to feel better about yourself on social media, then stop following people that don't make you feel good.
Yeah, absolutely. And how
Yeah.
can anybody who's intrigued by sort of your message that you send and wants to get started like with you and your coaching, how do they reach, like how do you usually reach out to clients?
So yeah, usually people will actually reach out to me. If I do any client outreach, it's usually I'm doing a challenge. Sometimes I'll do free challenges for a week to kind of get people excited, to get them in the door, see what it's kind of like to work with me. But most people will approach me, and then I just assess it from there. I take it very seriously. It's kind of like an application process, like if you're applying for a job in a sense. I mean, of course, you don't have to look professional, but you're going to answer some questions. I want to make sure that we're a good fit. It's not just like, oh, I'll take that money. Thank you very much. It's more so on the side of, hey, do our personalities mesh? Do you believe the same things I believe? Are you coming to me because you generally want to feel better? You want to be a healthier you, not because you want to look like somebody else. So I just hope that people come to me with that same mentality, and then I can help them be their best selves by taking that and making it bigger and better. So it depends. I don't think I've had any clients that have ever come to me and been like, hey, I'm trying to look like this girl from Instagram and I like her workouts. Can you do this for me? No. But what I can do for you is help you build a healthier mentality and physically and mentally, and make it a lifestyle. And I can definitely help you lose weight. I can definitely help you build muscle, whatever you want to do, but it's going to be a healthy way. So if you're looking for an 8-week, get fit, get in, get out, also not for me. My shortest program is a 90-day program, so it's 3 months. And that's usually just for clients to see the results they want and kind of get a feel for what it's like to make it a lifestyle. And then most of those clients will move on to my year-long program. And that one's obviously more in depth, but I do a lot of teaching. So once you finish this program, it's not just like, okay, now I can't keep spending money, whatever's going on, especially with COVID. They can go on their own and like replicate the tools that I gave them. Like a teacher, you don't just go to like college and pay all this money to leave and be like, like you pay a lot of money to learn something. So I want you to take something from what I gave you and do that on your own. And of course, you can always come to me and ask me questions. A lot of my clients still message me that aren't even clients anymore, and I'll just respond because I want to help you regardless. But yeah, most of it would be reaching out to me and just saying, hey, like, I really need your help and I like you as a person. I think you'd be a great coach for me. And then I'm like, awesome. So that's usually how it goes. Yeah.
And is there like a website that you would recommend people go to, or do you usually just get people DMing you?
Yeah, usually I really will just do it through Instagram. It seems like the best form. I've done websites, but I think sometimes it can just be really hard for people to navigate. They just want to open something, hit send. So if you just want to open up Instagram, type out a message, I'll usually respond within 24 hours. The latest would be 48. I do sometimes get more of an influx of messages depending on the day, but yeah, I'll send you a little questionnaire about kind of what you're looking for. And then we'll usually set up a 15-minute call. I call them value calls because even if I think we're not a good mesh, or there's something that just doesn't feel right, you still leave with a little bit of information. So kind of a direction where to go. But if we are a good fit, then I'll usually move on to the application part and then get on that application call. And then from there, I usually just set up new clients. But yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. I think this is so helpful to people. I think especially in life in general, but especially during this time when people are looking for something that you can't really have a quick fix right now. This isn't going away really anytime soon. So I think people are kind of reaching a place where they're looking for a more solid, reliable life, like really lifestyle change. So I think what you're doing is awesome, and I really appreciate you talking to me about it. And I think it's really important message to send.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, do you tend to like what's your thing? Do you work out or what's your
Well,
message?
honestly, what I've had to implement during this quarantine, I was never like a huge gym goer. I'm kind
Yeah,
of always more of a just try to get outside and do something during the day.
your body.
Because that's so mentally for me, that's so helpful. So
Yeah.
I've been just trying to get like I am started nannying during this quarantine, and so instead of driving, I'll just like push the kids in the stroller and swim with
Yeah.
them and stuff. And I just try to implement like activity throughout my day. Because
Yeah.
sometimes when you plan to for depending on the person, if I plan too much, it's stressful, it's not fun. If
Yeah.
I'm thinking like I need to be here for an hour and a half and I need to do this and this, it's
Yeah.
not enjoyable.
No.
But some
Always
people
something that
thrive
makes
on that.
you happy. Yeah. No, even if it's like people that think they can't do like tennis or do hot yoga, I honestly say do whatever makes you happy. For people that really want to like change the definition of their body, usually it needs to be weightlifting, but it doesn't mean you have to give up everything else. You can still do like 45 minutes of weightlifting or do your tennis or your volleyball or walking outside. So it really just depends on you. So if that's something that you really just enjoy, like swimming, then or just generally walking. It's doing something for your body to get your heart rate up, to get those endorphins, those happy mood endorphins going for you. But I think that's awesome, and I think whatever makes you happy is just at the end of the day, that's for you, girl. Keep doing that.
Well, thank you so much, and also keep doing what you're doing because people, I when they find people like you, it really can really change their whole perspective of themselves.
Well, I really appreciate that, and I can't wait to see this, and hopefully, it will get to reach some people that just needed to hear that message.
All right, awesome. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you, Alexander. Have a great day.
You too. Take care.